Welcome back to another class on Evean Hazaer Halacha series. We are continuing Siman Aleph, Halacha Tet, Nu Halacha, Part 1. Nose Adam Kama Nashim. A man is allowed to marry many women. Vehu de'efshar lemekam bisipukaihu. And that's provided that he has the means to be able to sustain each one of them. That means a man has an obligation to give her food, clothing, and also relations. Nevertheless, Natnu Chachamim Eitza Toiva. The rabbis gave good advice to the men. Shelo Yisa Adam Yuter Midaled Nashim. A guy shouldn't marry more than 4 women. Why is that? Kedei sheyagil kol echad ona b'chodesh. Because we want that every single woman is going to reach her one ona in the monthly period. Now, we did this before, but what is an ona? We as men have to know that there's an obligation that's put on us besides clothing them and feeding them. There is another obligation that's put on us. How many times a week a guy has to have relations with them? So you have to understand, some men can be every single day, they have an obligation. Some men can be 2 times a week. Some men can be one time during the week. Some men can be from Shabbat to Shabbat. Others can be once in a month. So there is a whole Siman that speaks about the obligation that men have to have towards their woman when it comes to relations. So what does that mean? It's very simple. Let's say he's that type of person that he has to be with his wife every single day. And the Shulchan Aruch brings this down. He has money coming from all places. He's living such a lifestyle. He has no worries, whatever. So he's obligated to be with his wife every single day. That is his obligation that's put on him to make sure that she's happy physically. That means to say that let's say the guy comes home one day, he's having a bad day. I don't know what happened. He says, not that she initiated, she didn't do anything. He comes home, again, she's not in her needed period, she's 100% clean, she went to the mikveh and everything. I don't want people to get the wrong idea now. Let's say during the 2-week period when she's allowed to be with her husband, he comes home and he says, something, I'm very tired, I want to go to sleep, I'm not in the mood, blah, blah, whatever that might be. Halacha is going to tell this type of person, you're not allowed to go to sleep, you can't have a headache, and so on and so forth, because you have an obligation to see to it that your wife is happy from your relations. If you're not going to give it to her, who's going to give it to her? So this is, again, Rabotai, this is that type of person. What happens if he's that type of person that has to be with his wife once a week? So let's say once a week, let's say he's with her Wednesdays, and now he didn't sleep with her, not on Sunday, not on Monday, not on Tuesday, not on Wednesday, not on Thursday, not on Friday. The problem is he has to be with her at least once a week. Come Shabbat, he doesn't want to be with her. No, Halacha is going to tell him, you have an obligation to satisfy your wife that one time during the week. I don't care when it's during the week, but you can't go a whole week without being with your wife. Because there's an obligation that's placed on men to be able to satisfy the woman even physically. Now, Rabotai, why are we saying this? Because you have to understand, why did the Chachamim give us this advice? That a guy should only have maximum 4 wives. Because when you have 4 wives, there are 4 weeks in the month. So when you have 4 wives, it comes out good. So now you're going to be able to sleep with each one at least once a month. Once you'll sleep with her, 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 and then the cycle is going to come back to her again. So that is a 4 women for 1 month. So each one at least is going to be with the guy once a month. Now, Rabotai continues the Shulchan Aruch and he says, "Ubemakom shenahagu shelo lisa ela isha achat," but in the place where they have a custom not to marry more than 1 woman, meaning they only marry 1 woman, excuse me, In the place where they have minhag, the custom, to only marry one woman, you're not allowed to go ahead and marry another woman on top of what you already have, on top of your wife. So even though the Shulchan Aruch said, have many wives, according to the rabbis, 4 wives, but now the Shulchan Aruch is saying, but if you're living in an area, in a place where their custom is only 1 wife, you have to stick to that custom. You can't go ahead and marry more than 1 wife. And then he says, Siman Bet, says, look in the end, towards Siman Bet, in the end of Siman Bet, where he says, the Asur Lisa Shtei Nashim B'Shnei Mekomot, that it brings out over there that you're not allowed to have 2 wives in 2 different places. That's towards the end of chapter 2. Rabotai, we want to see a Cham today. The Cham in Sivkat and Yud Gimel is going to want to understand this whole prohibition of marrying more than 1 woman since he doesn't have the means. Because remember, what did the Halacha say? Let's not speak about the minhag. We're not in the place of a minhag. Let's say you're living in Iran. I don't know. You're living in a place where you're allowed to have more than 1 wife. But the problem is, you don't have the means to be able to take care of more than 1 wife. So we're going to tell you that you're not allowed to marry more than 1 wife. You have to stick to her. Comes the Cham and he says like this, Yesh li stapek. He says, there is a doubt to this whole prohibition of going ahead and not marrying other women because you don't have the means. If the prohibition, is the prohibition from the side of the woman, because she's able to go ahead and protest against you, since you're not able to go ahead and fulfill the basic needs that she has to get, which is the food, the clothing, and the relations, if you're not able to give it to her, that's why she's able to protest against you. So therefore, you're not allowed to go ahead and marry another woman. Onema, or maybe you're going to say like this. Onema, or maybe say, Da'av im hi mitratzelo. Even if she's going to want him, v'notenet lo reshut, and she gives him permission, Lisa acher, to go ahead and marry another woman, habedin mochin lo im eni yachol lahspik otam. The bedin, the Jewish court, is going to protest against him. They're going to rebuke him if he's not able to sustain each and every one of them. We want to understand, why can't he get married to more than 1 woman if he doesn't have the means? Is it because of her? Or maybe no, maybe she doesn't mind. On the contrary, she'll be happy if there's going to be another woman. But maybe really Bedin is going to say no because you don't have the financial means. From which angle are we making this prohibition by not allowing him to go ahead and marry another woman because he doesn't have the means? Continues the Cham and he says, Umidiri HaRambam, from the words of the Rambam, Peri Tedvav Mihilchot Ishud Halacha Aleph, chapter 15 from the Halachot of Marriages, law number 1, Hevi HaTur B'Siman Ein Vav Sivkat and Dalet, the Tur brought him down in Siman 76 Sivkat and Dalet. Mashma, it's implied, the talui beratzon hanashim. It's implied that it's really dependent on what the woman wants. It's because of the woman. If she says, I don't want you marrying another wife on top of me because you don't have the means, she has every right to go ahead and be upset. And she's going to hold you back from marrying another woman, because if you can feed her and clothe her and give her what she needs, meaning her relations, where are you going on? Where are you going to another woman? What about her? You're overlooking her. V'chein mashma b'teshuvat ha'rivash, Siman Tzadik Aleph, and so it's implied from the Teshuvah of the Rivash in Siman 91. And now he wants to bring us a proof, Rabotai, where is this from? From Yeshaya in Perek Dalet, Rabotai, where Yeshaya goes ahead and he makes a prophecy that in the end of days, Chas v'Shalom lo lein, that there's going to be war, and there's going to be men going out to war, and people, a lot of women are going to, there are going to be a lot of women and less men, and this is what he says during that time. Omikron Malihu, it's a full verse that speaks about that the whole thing is really dependent on the woman. It is because of her, he's not allowed to go ahead and get another woman because he doesn't have the means. He says like this, V'hichziku sheva nashim b'ish echad. The pasuk in Ishaya says, and the woman they held on, 7 women held on to one guy, biyom echad, in one day, lemor saying, lachmenu nechal, we will eat our own bread. V'samlenu dilbash, we'll wear our own clothing. Meaning, you don't give us nothing. Rak yikre shimcha aleinu. Only let us be called by your name. Let your family name be us. Let us be connected to you, that you are our husband and we are your wives. Asov cherpetenu. Take away our shame. Rabotai, in the end of days, Yishai is chas v'shalom saying that's going to be. That 7 women are going to grab onto one man in one day. And they're going to say, don't give us nothing. Just let us be called by your name. Take away our shame. Rabotai, you know, it's sad. It's sad. Because how many of us today, Chashem, we go and we divorce? How many women, Rabotai, don't appreciate their husbands? It's very sad. We spoke about other times when men don't appreciate their wives. Now it's the other way, right? Now it's their turn. Okay. We'll go with how the Torah tells us to go. He says, V'chol davar shebemamon tan'o kayam. Anything which is monetary based, like food, clothing, we're going to tell you that the condition is valid. So really we see over here that when the Cham asked the question, why do we say that it is asur for a guy to go ahead and marry another woman because he doesn't have the financial needs? Is it because of the woman or is it because of Bedin? The Cham brought the Rambam, also is Masha from the Rivash, and it's also a complete verse in Ishaya that it is dependent because it's dependent on the woman. Since she's going to have a claim on the husband, saying you can feed me, you can clothe me, you can give me what I need at night, you want to go get married to another woman? She has the right from holding him back. That's why, Rabotai, if she is against it and he has and he doesn't have the means to sustain her and another woman together at the same time, he is not allowed to go ahead and marry another woman. Rabotai, we will conclude with this. Bezrat Hashem, in the following class, we'll speak about what happens if she forgives him. She's happy with the little he gives. She said, listen, I don't need much. I'm happy to have a roof over my head. Are we still going to allow him to go and get married to another woman? Rabotai, that's for the next class. Baruch Adonai Olam, Amen ve'amen.